Tim Walz.
What I know is that people like J.D. Vance know nothing about small-town America.
We know about his coaching days.
In high school, if you pull a guard, it pretty much know where the ball's going, and if you can teach kids to do that.
Like student body right, student body left, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone is tuning out.
Thank you for not allowing the yearbook to close on this chapter. I have to tell people this. So look, I did 24 years in the military. I was teaching, and then I started running for Congress. I'm absolutely convinced, and people have told me this nuts, because you won that state championship.
And we know how much he loves his family.
Hey, Minnesota, Governor Walz here, out at the State Fair with my daughter.
Ho.
Every year we as a family do something old and something new. I get to pick something, a classic, the old mill ride, to do that. And then Hope gets to pick something new.
I think we're going to go do the slingshot.
Which I don't know what it is, and they're keeping it from me. But then we're going to go get some food. Corn dog.
I'm vegetarian.
Turkey then. And
Turkey's
then,
meat.
Not in Minnesota, turkey's special. And we will go do some of those things and report back.
ESPN's Mina Kimes, meanwhile.
There's something, to me, really important about seeing someone like this modeling a different kind of masculinity that we just haven't seen. And I think we're kind of seeing it a little bit in the NFL with the Kelseys and Dan Campbell, this idea that big, tough football guy isn't separate from showing emotions and empathy and that kind of thing.
Spoke with the Dan Le Batard Show, Meadowlark Media, Pablo Torre. They do great stuff. On Tim Walz, football and more.
And I when I see them leading with, because Kamala, dude, yes, they're calling him coach and whatnot, but in the same breath, they're emphasizing this man, the year he was a football coach, also ran the Gay Straight Alliance at the high school. That's really powerful in a way that goes far beyond politics and electability, which is what the discussion we're having. There are very few models of like that in American public life.
And she is right on so many fronts. First,
I had students come to me who were concerned that there was an uptick in some bullying towards our gay and lesbian students. And this is in the mid-90s. They asked if I would be interested in helping start a Gay Straight Alliance group. My answer was absolutely. And I recognized my responsibility in that. You have an older, white, straight, married male football coach who's deeply concerned that these students are treated fairly and that there's no bullying. And the idea that my players would be interested in coming to that and learn and to speak, to create a culture in a school that was welcoming, open, and understanding was something Gwen and I always strove for.
A simple message one could easily get behind, right? It is super simplistic, but it took serious kahunas because of the times to do this. This was not mainstream. This was not widely accepted. Tim Walz was not going with the grain. He was going against it. He was an outlier in the form of leadership. Via the Washington Post, this is one of the students at Mankato West High, Jacob Wrighton. The Walzes were teachers at Mankato. He had Gwen Walz, Tim's wife, as an English teacher in the year 1999 from the Associated Press. Gwen Walz had announced at the start of Jacob's sophomore year, that her class was a safe space for gay students. Jacob would say, I'd never heard a teacher ever talk about gay issues from the front of the classroom. The act meant the world to me. It made me feel welcome in the place where I'm supposed to learn. To give an idea of how rough the times were, Jacob was bullied. On top of this, a homophobic slur was chalked on his family's driveway. Okay? On Gay Awareness Day, it gets worse. Roughly 50 students would threaten to leave or not even show up. Wrote fellow student Amanda Hinkle in her journal, if anything more was said about sexual orientation, they wouldn't show up. And kids were tearing down signs that said stuff about gay tolerance. Terrible, obviously. When Jacob publicly came out, it went in this order. First, his best friend. Second, his sister. Third, Tim and Gwen Walz. Some parents, by the way, to go back to gay awareness, didn't even let their kids go to school that day. Says so much. To be clear, Walz was successfully coaching defense at Mankato, and they won a state title. He would also help LGBTQ plus students at the school. Jacob would say, quote, "There was no mandate to do this. It was one teacher saying, I know kids are suffering in the silent closet of fear and misunderstanding. What an important moment that was for me," says it all.
Both Tim and Gwen were incredibly supportive of their gay students. They modeled values of inclusivity and respect. That helped not just me. I was bullied in high school. It helped not just me, but it also, I think, helped the bully. It showed the bully a better path forward. And I can think of no one better than Tim Walz to show that better path forward for America. We have had with President Trump a bully president. It's a one-act show with this president. All he knows how to do is the politics of the bully. Tim Walz will show us a better way forward. He's been showing and modeling that better way forward for me all the way back to 1997.
That was Jacob speaking with MSNBC, an activist, now a lawyer, by the way. Proud of him. Laura Mattson would say, he, as in Tim, was really steadfast in his support. He would say some people just don't understand, and that's okay. We'll keep doing what we're doing and raise awareness. A leader for the rights of fellow mankind, Tim Walz later signed into law a ban on LGBTQ plus conversion practices in his state of Minnesota in the year 2023. In addition, Tim Walz also signed a bill protecting trans youth and their families who come to Minnesota from states where accessing gender-affirming care is illegal. So not only is he saying, I got your back, he's saying, I have everyone's back if you're being discriminated against, no matter your location in the country. And he supported same-sex marriage and called for a don't ask, don't tell, a military policy which barred gay and lesbian personnel from serving openly. But here's the thing. It wasn't just Hinkle. It wasn't just Jacob Wrighton. It wasn't just Mattson. There were more people who came forward to speak of how great of a man this is.
He's a guy's guy. You know, he was energetic, super knowledgeable. You know, he wants to be hands-on. You know, he wants to be whatever he's doing. He's got 10 toes down. I think that's the thing that stands out from him, even at an early age. But I think the thing that stands out is like just trying to get the most out of you, trying to realize that there's a bigger picture out there and there's a higher goal, and just kind of pushing you to achieve your full capacity. You know, that's really what stands out. Seth
Greenwald, a former player of Tim Walz's, would speak with TMZ Sports on it.
His energy, his care, his integrity, just a great overall human being. He's one of my favorite people in the world, so it's a real excitement for me to get here and talk about him today. So thanks for having me. I think VP Harris is very lucky to have him, just for the sheer fact that he's a great human and has everyone's best interest in heart. He truly, truly does. There's no question in my mind I would not have finished high school without Coach Walz. Him and I had met at a pretty pivotal time in my life, at a time where, you know, I was kind of on the outs as far as school is concerned, wasn't really attending class a whole lot, was really ready to take the next step of just stop going to school. But Tim Walz, you know, he took the time, he took the care, and he really pulled me aside often and really said, you know, hey, Dan, let's give this a shot, right? Let's keep coming. We need you here on the football team. And I really had never really had attention or care from an adult teacher, male teacher, or a male role model at that time. So for him to take the time, a lot of time out of his day, to really show me the care that I, you know, a young 16, 17-year-old boy, you know, raised by a single mother, really needed.
Daniel Clement, another football player under Walz and a student in his class, shared his story as well.
Mr. Walz is certainly unique in the ability to take complex ideas or theories and boil it down for 14 to 15-year-olds could understand. And I think that is a great asset to have in the country, but also just his genuine, I mean, you can see in the video right now, genuine happiness and joy, and he exudes that in just everything that he does, and it's infectious. And I think it's really great to share Mr. Walz with the rest of the nation and just his joyful nature. nature and his ability to connect with people in a meaningful way. So he still, cares long beyond the student-teacher relationship. And I can't say enough kind things about Mr. Walz. I was a C-ish type student, and Mr. Walz paid as much attention to me as our 4.0 or A student classmates. And I think it's just really important when you're, age 14, 15, to have an adult outside of your family that cares and has that much interest in you and seeing you succeed not only in their classroom, but other classrooms as well.
Noah Hobbs, a former student, weighed in too. To be clear, I buy what Mina Kimes is selling. I do. I buy it. Because not only does she have a fantastic feel for current events, more specifically football and the state of, but also how it reflects in modern society. She has been in the media game for a while. I believe she worked for Bloomberg previously. But what she does is show the correlation and the interest and the similarities between policy at times. She was great on the Aaron Rodgers front, breaking it down, and then also professional football. And she is right, what she said previously. Because we are in this somewhat transition, I would say, where we saw how unaccepting the NFL was when others came, tried to make it in the league, and then we heard all of the stories, specifically Jeff Fisher, and how it seemed like there just wasn't this acceptance for Michael Sam. And then we have others coming out. And although in my view, they're not getting a fair shake, it is starting to catch up with the times. Though Major League Baseball, the National Football League, it's still pretty conservative. And I think this tells you a thing or two about it. But we are slowly inching towards the acceptance that a gay football player would have. And more specifically, getting up with the times that masculinity is not defined single-handedly by how many yards you run or if you are even a professional football player as a whole. It is showing that there are many definitions to it. She used Jason Kelsey as an example. Couldn't have thought of a better one. What I see right here is Tim Walz showing that very definition. That you can be a successful defensive coordinator on a state-winning team that is now, according to him, a powerhouse in the state, and also be for gay rights. You can also stick your neck out for trans people, and it'll be okay. Quite frankly, I wish there were more Tim Walzes in football. Because I think not only would the world be a better place, but sports would be as well. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.